Hey cucks and clowns, it's your old pal, Sneaky Motherfucking bruh. So in today's video, I have a very fantastic, fun-filled frickin' story for you guys today. Because I absolutely love doing these videos for you guys because they're so freaking awesome. So I actually have quite a long record with doctors, right? Your boy got his appendix removed, your boy fell up the stairs and cut his chin. I fell off my bike and got like this gash in my arm that I have a permanent scar for. I almost died from an allergic reaction, which is what this story is about today. So about, I don't know, give or take 6 months ago, I had felt around my neck and I felt this little bump and I was like, that's probably dangerous. I better wait 6 months to go to a doctor to get an opinion, right? So that's what I did. I waited 6 months to find out that I have a pretty like enlarged lymph nodes, which is kind of scary to somebody who's completely retarded in any type of medical case. So I went to my doctor. I got an ultrasound on my neck. I have like really big lymph nodes on both sides. Like I've got one that's like 2.6 centimeters and 2.7 centimeters, which is pretty fucking big if you're in terms of looking into my goddamn neck. So after I got this ultrasound done, I went to an ENT, or an ear, nose, throat doctor, if you don't know what that is, and he was going to be the one to give me the diagnosis of what I probably had. So I went in there, the guy looked in my nose, touched my neck around a couple times, and he came out with the conclusion that I have a wonderful sinus infection that is probably never going to go away for the rest of my life now. So he put me on 2 medications. He put me on the steroid and an antibiotic. So I take this shit for a little while, and turns out I'm allergic to fucking amoxicillin. I almost went to like fucking cardiac arrest or anaphylactic shock. I almost died because my sinuses want to stay clogged for majority of my day, right? And that's not the juicy part, because this story is why I fucking hate doctors now. So after this massive rash broke out, my dad had called both of my doctors and they told me that I should go to the emergency room. So I did, which is now costing me a bunch of fucking money to cover that fucking cost of me going to the emergency room, which is another reason I freaking love hospitals. So when I went to the ER, I went into the little sit down area where they have the doctors come and look at you, and I paid the X amount of money that I am now just to have 2 doctors to look at me, touch my body, and say, yeah, you have a rash. And I'm like, well, no fucking shit, I have a rash. I didn't need 2 doctors to tell me that I had a rash. I had dealt with it for like 3 days, and I noticed it broke out on Easter Sunday of this year, and that day I had to go to work, and I was probably the most fucking annoyed I've ever been in my entire life. Like, my inner racist was coming out to certain customers, and I just didn't want to fucking be there. So I left. I was only at work for like an hour, but I just couldn't stop itching my balls, my fucking arms, my neck, everything. It was fucking all over the place. And when I went to the ER, I needed 2 doctors to look at me to tell me I had a rash. I was like, thanks, dude. I totally self-diagnosed myself and pretty much figured out that I had a fucking rash. Thanks, though. So after I got that fucking shit taken care of, I go back to my ear, nose, throat doctor, the legend, the boy that made me spend $100 just to see him twice. Went to him, and this time, you know, I give him the whole story. I tell him what happened and that I'm fucking allergic to this medicine that almost fucking killed me. So then he checks my sinus, he checks my throat again and touches around on my lymph nodes and says, oh yeah, they've gone down significantly. You're just still a little congested, but yeah, they've definitely gone down. Which, by the way, from my touch, either I'm retarded or just don't know how big they were originally. To me, they don't feel like they've gone down at all. So I'm pretty sure this doctor was literally just playing with me because he thought I was some dumb, ignorant kid, which at the time I actually fucking was, because I'm stupid as shit and didn't ask the right questions. But this is the juicy bit right here, right? Out of this whole uninteresting story that I don't even know why I'm telling, because it literally is the most boring fucking story I've ever told. This is a lesson to be learned. He gets this little fucking tool and puts it up my nose, right? A little fucking tool, puts it up my nose and is like, oh, yeah, you have a deviated septum. Now, pretty much I've always said my nose looked crooked and my nose always was like broken and shit, but now I needed a doctor to tell me that. But the fucking moral of the story is why didn't he find that shit out before? Like, I saw you before. My nose didn't just break within the 3 weeks that I was fucking taking these medications for my swollen lymph nodes. So technically, this is what happened. I went in to get a diagnosis of what my lymph node problem could be, whether it could be something dangerous or something as meaningless as a sinus infection. I go to an ENT to actually do the diagnosis. He diagnoses me with a sinus infection. I get off on a tangent of getting this fucking horrible rash that I go to the ER for. before. I go back to the ENT, and now he tells me I have a fucking broken nose. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, did this guy just break my nose in like the 5 minutes I've been here, or did he just want to leave that part out? So the better part of this is he prescribes me a fucking nasal spray. Literally just a medication that I spray in my nose to clear up congestion. If the fucking deviated septum is causing the congestion, what the frick is a nasal spray gonna do for me? He tells me to take it for a month and then to come back, and if the congestion isn't cleared up, we're gonna talk about surgery. Now, my dad had the surgery and explained to me how it happens, and I'm like, fuck no, dude, I ain't having none of that shit. So pretty much they break your nose, realign it, and then pack it with shit, and you're like the hospital for like 3 days. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm good. Like, I can live with sounding a little bit nasally and a little bit more nerdy. It doesn't fucking bother me. I'm so fucking in awe of how this doctor came to this conclusion. First, it's something that it could potentially be dangerous. Then it's a sinus infection, because the original diagnosis was unknown. We didn't know why my lymph nodes were swollen. So he comes to the conclusion of a sinus infection. Doesn't tell me if my sinus infection is cleared up at all. Just tells me I have congestion and a broken nose. That is the ultimate way of flip-flopping somebody to come back to your clinic to get more money, especially if you're a young, dumb kid like me. So moral of the story is, if you ever go to your doctor's office, even if you're under the age of 18, ask questions, very important questions, so your parents don't have to flip-flop back and forth, because it's fucked up, dude. Your boy's got a broken-ass nose, and this nigga gives me a fucking bottle of medication that I spray into my nose. Think about this for a second. You have a broken arm, right? And your doctor's like, oh yeah, just rub some Neosporin on it. Yeah, it'll fix itself within a month. Yeah, so if your broken arm doesn't clear up within a month, come back and see me and we'll talk about surgery. Like, that's the equivalent of what this doctor prescribed me. A freaking nasal spray. Out of the whole hassle I went through, from a dangerous like infection scare to a fucking awful rash to a broken nose. I don't know how fucking more off the beaten path it could get, but that's pretty much why I fucking hate doctors now, and hospitals in general. Some of them are shady as fuck. I had 2 doctors seriously look at me and tell me I had a rash. I don't know if you caught that part of the story, but I knew I had a fucking rash, dude. You went to 8 years for medical school to tell me and look me in the eyes, a 20-year-old adult, saying, yeah, it's a rash. Like, oh, no shit, dude. Thanks. Fucking top quality medical care. Anyway, guys, if you like today's story, leave a like, subscribe to my channel for more of my content. Helps me a fucking ton, man. My name is Sneaky Adma. As always, guys, have a fucking fantastic day. And if you